Let's take the new Black Panther Civil War buff out for a spin. Okay, so I've had a little bit of time to play around the champion, and I'm going to give some thoughts. I've got some notes which I'm going to be referring to in the description. The champion is good. The rework is incredibly good. There's a few things to point out with this. In this gameplay footage you can see at the moment is going to be a rank 5, 6-star ascended 200 signature version of Black Panther. The mastery run with it would be Liquid Courage and Double Edge mastery. And so effectively that's your suicide masteries covered with this one. Recoil is going to play a part as to why I'm rotating in a certain way, which I'll explain in a moment. We've gone over the abilities before. We've seen that the champion has elements of cleanse. It has more of a kind of do a parry, get a charge type element to it on rotation. You're also looking to not fully go through with your combos. As you know, when you play Marvel Contest of Champions, you do a 5-hit combo most of the time, unless something calls for it being a little bit different. Unfortunately and fortunately, with reflect charges, you will have to dash back and kind of do what it says here. These last 12 seconds, the charges, and they're paused during special attacks and can be refreshed by dodging back after landing a non-combo ending attack. That is so important. It is a learning curve to try and do that, especially a lot of people want to hit 5-hit combo, and I was constantly trying to understand that element around this champion. But the payoff, if you're willing to ramp up, which you've probably seen the footage on screen a moment ago, is going to give you just so much joy to see. Unfortunately, the building of charges is something that I find a bit of an issue. Something that Kabams have put in, which I don't know if people have seen recently. People have mentioned it. You've probably seen something on the forums. I'm going to do a video on this one, but I wanted to kind of just point out why it's so much of a concern, or not a concern, is Prodigal Sons. While blocking special attacks, the window in which reflect charges can be gained is increased, and there is no cooldown. That is such an important thing. There is a skill level to it, doing like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 light attacks, which you can see me do, and then come back. It's the safest way I operate in order to make sure the charges are on the champion. And if they're on the champion, it means that you ramp up to 75, you do the heavy cancel and either throw a special attack or whatever, and you do the big red numbers, the big burst numbers, which you're going to see in this video and you've probably already seen already. So without further ado, let's showcase some footage, shall we? Oh, and before we do get into that, I just want to point out the 200 signature element to the champion. Black Panther starts with 20.07 reflect charges. This basically gets you off the ground running with trying to get that big payoff at the end of it. So I'm not saying it's needed, but it feels like without that synergy, whatever that's going to come in the future, you will feel like you will have to have this awakened ability and also be able to just kind of like get your reflect charges up depending for the payoff. Of course, from a defensive aspect, it looks like it's very much centered around awaken 200 signature on defense, more effective. And that's going to be quite he's going to be quite a frustrating champion to go up against. Anyway, sorry, but I had to point that out, that's why it's really essential to have the champion without the synergy that's coming soon, the awakened ability 200 signature. So getting into the gameplay action at lovely 60 frames per second, this was the learning curve. So right at the very start of this footage, you're going to see like the learning curve of stuff. And getting hit isn't always great, but you can see here with the SP3, it's all about adding those reflect charges. Something I'm going to refer to quite a bit in this video is ramping up them. I found that the most difficult, and the absence of that synergy, you can see that I was trying to get the parry of parrying the special attack in order to build my charges. And the issue I did find was like I put on like loads of synergies with this champion, and it wasn't great because I was over damaging. I was doing too much damage. I was putting in the synergy that allowed you to increase your bleed attacks. I was doing, all the wrong things. But this was all about trying to build up my charges and also try out my cleanse, which I don't know if you saw, like I did cleanse a bleed debuff all of a sudden. And that was one thing I wanted to check. This is where the footage, my kind of like learning of the champion got better. So the whole process around the champion's build is to try and get yourself to the 75 charges. It is trying to get that process in of trying to do a non-combo ending and dash back in order to keep those refreshed. Top left hand corner, the refreshing of those reflect charges is so important. I was trying to parry there the special attack in order to build more charges. Opting for an SP3 rotation, it just made it easier. Like now you can see I mess up there. And if you mess up, that's going to cost you. Messing up is going to remove your charges because they're not going to be reset. If you mess up, you need the SP3. And that's maybe for me is like it's a learning curve. So whilst I was kind of like messing about here, whatever that was, I do not know. But I was just getting into the rhythm and trying to get that way I don't normally play or not normally want to play, kind of locked down to go, you know, three hits there, drop back, 1, 2, 3, and then drop back to try and get that momentum that I just wasn't able to get. Now look, it isn't the cleanest of fights, but it's the better showcase of fights of things that are not good, things that are good, and things that need to be cheat codes. Like here, like doing the SP3 is a cheat code for me because I'm not activating my recoil, therefore I'm keeping myself alive. I've built up to 75 hits. I then have to judge with the AI how that's going because that also plays a factor into, am I able to get some hits and then do a non-combo ender, and dash back like I'm trying to do there. But once I get this heavy attack and SP2 off, things just seem beautiful. But I do feel like I need that synergy. Just for me, like other people will be able to do this right there, like easily, and the ramp up just so much more easily. For me, not so much. It will take a bit of time if I want to play this champion as regular, but you can see the extent of damage potential that you've got there. That's very, very nice. One more time, we're going to see this. It's just great. Once you do the ramp up and in slow-mo, it is just so, it's just fantastic. I do love this champion, but I want that synergy so badly. And there we go. Incredible, incredible. I really enjoyed Black Panther. I thought the buff was great. It is, for me, I had to learn a little bit to kind of do the refreshing of the reflect charges. That, for me, seems a bit difficult to get my head around. But what won't be is this synergy. Once it's in that whole process of building up to 75 and getting that big payoff, the big red numbers, it's just going to feel so much better and so much easier and less stressful. That's one thing I did find. I was watching the top left hand corner a bit too much than I would have wanted to. And also I felt a bit more panic than normal playing the champion, which isn't great. That's why I opted for an SP3 rotation, mainly as that keeps my reflect charges on longer. So activating a refreshing reflect matrix and pause it for 20 seconds, but gaining 10 reflect charges and refresh all charges. I found that was easier to do. Yes, you do get at the point of an SP1, you gain 4 reflect charges or each landed blocked hit, which again helps out on the ramp. I just felt that because of recoil mastery on the mastery set I had, that it was better to SP3 rotate. There's also trying to get that parrying of special attack, which can be great to build charges, reflect charges that is, but I just felt that it was easier to, and it was just bad habits really of trying to go, okay, let's kind of try and parry, and it didn't really come off too well. I think at times like that, always go with what feels easiest to you. And what felt easier to me was doing SP3 rotations to get the reflect charges refreshed and put on 10 more. But also that element of 1, 2, 3 light hit and then swipe back as quickly as possible. Get into a new rhythm with it. I'm not saying you have to play as champion this way. You have to really figure out what works for you if you don't like certain aspects. And as I keep reiterating, and for the last time, this synergy will make that whole process much, much more easier, whoever this champion is. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Check out some other content which will be located on screen. Boom! Right now, support the channel, that would be great. And yeah, check out In the Center, the Marvel Rivals channel, which is building. We're active now with it. So cheers, everybody. See you soon. Bye.